Hello guys, we still on SVOD Silicon Valley Open Doors conference, and let me introduce Jacques, and he will tell us about his awesome project.
Hi, my name's Jacques Rosas. I'm from MyMocha. It's a new app. It stands for My Museum of Contemporary Art, and it is a user-populated database, and it creates, or it makes the entire world one big art gallery. Anybody can upload any art, no matter what it is. Any art they create, any art they collect, or any art they find. So it changes the museum and gallery experience by using image recognition technology. You scan the piece of art and it will bring the user back to the file about that piece of art. It'll tell you everything there is to know about that piece of art that's been uploaded by whomever uploaded it. So that scan function works in person, but it also works on film, and it works on television, and it works in movies. So if you're at the movies or on TV, you see some artwork, you'll scan it, and it'll bring you back, it'll tell you all about that artwork and all about that artist. That's one of the things the app does. There's another thing to inspire all the artists out there. We have curation process. You can use the app to submit art into the New York Museum of Contemporary Art in Manhattan. Users and artists upload their art, they nominate themselves, and then get a shot of being in a show in New York City. Now, the New York Museum of Contemporary Art is a share economy business model with shop studios. It's an art and film studio. And each gallery is not just an art gallery, it's also a television studio, much like we're working in here. So any art that is exhibited in the museum could end up being on set for a television show or a movie, and anybody who's watching it can scan it and bring them back. So if you're selling the art, it gives you an audience of millions, tens of millions, and sometimes even hundreds of millions of people. So any questions?
I have several questions. Thank you for tell our audience about your application. And I've seen it has very nice search functionality. Can you please tell how it works?
So if you are interested in collecting art and you've never collected art before and you just don't know where to start, ask yourself, what is it that's important to me about my family? And you can use what we call origins of inspiration. Origins of inspiration are your spiritual, national, religious, tribal, characteristic, anything that you think inspires you or makes you who you are, or any connection that you would like to have with an artist. So say if my grandmother was from Italy. So you go into origins of inspiration and you put in Italy and you press search, and it will bring up all the Italian artists in there. And you could take this search further. It could be an Italian artist who's a Buddhist and who's married to a Chinese woman. And you can find that artist. So these origins of inspiration are search terms, and they do a lot of really incredible things. They allow a collector to find a connection with an artist, but they also allow someone who is hosting or putting together an art show. Anybody can put up and post and host an art show, and they'll invite people to their show to exhibit with them in a group show. They can open it up to submissions, or they can invite specific people, again, by using the origins of inspiration to pull together just an art show with Italian men married to Chinese women who are Buddhists or whatever. Anyway, you find connections. It's all about connections. It's all about inspiring people to create art. So, another question?
Absolutely sure. Thank you for this answer. And how about me? I'm not artist, but I like to see some very nice art projects. And let's say I'm going to New York and the Memorial Day and the end of May. How can your application be helpful for me?
So if you are visiting any city or any region, any place on the entire planet, you can go to the maps, and then you can search the maps for wherever you are. And you can use the sorting and filtering in the maps to just see the art that you want to see. So say that you are really interested in public art, sculptures, murals, and tags. So you go to the filter and you put in public art, sculptures, murals, and tags, and you search, and everything else will go out of the map, and a map or in a guide to take an art tour wherever you are in the world will appear. And it's really quite incredible. And when you come across a mural, say, somewhere in the world, you could use the scan. Once you scan the artwork, it'll tell you all about that piece of artwork, unless it's not in there. If it's not in there, it'll ask you to upload it and become part of the population that populates the database. So you upload the information, and you give as much information as you possibly can, and if you don't know who the artist is, you say, I don't know who the artist is, and it goes into a special gallery called Lost Art, and other users try to figure out whose art it is. So there's a process. It's like a game. Hey, I know whose art that is, and you put it in, and then the file moves on to confirm, and then finally found art. So anywhere in the world, you go look at the map, you can find anything. You can search, sort by category, size, price, for sale or not. So say you're on vacation, you don't ever have to buy a plastic widget to bring home to Johnny or Sally. You can actually bring home a piece of art, because now you can find every art studio in the world. So you can buy a piece of art by just doing that. And there's one other function that the app has, speaking of selling the art. So say the art can be used as currency. There's a cryptocurrency program that allows an artist to use a painting or a sculpture or any type of piece of art as currency. So I can say, you have a washing machine, and I'm an artist, and I need a washing machine because there's paint all over my clothes. So I say to you, I don't have any money, but I would like to trade this painting for that washing machine. Well, this allows you to do that, and then you can transfer the art to his file, and then he accepts it, and he decides whether he wants to use the art as currency by looking at my public profile. And he'll see my entire art history, and he'll decide whether it's worth it or not. So it's designed to inspire as much new art as possible. It's designed to spread art all around the world. I encourage people to trade art, sell art, give it away, because the more you share art, the more art you have to make, and the more art you have to make, the better the world will be. Beautiful.
Awesome. So I can assume you have a lot of data to store. Any challenges with this particular part of application?
Well, the app is still relatively new. We do have widespread global participation. However, there's only a few thousand people on there because it's only been by word of mouth. So we are trying to figure out how much data we are going to need to store, but we're expecting millions and tens of millions and maybe even hundreds of millions of images. And like I said, just by word of mouth, our global participation level is kind of surprising and definitely inspiring. So we are in the business right now. We're looking for a partner to help us with the less creative part and the more technical part. So I'm translating into different languages, storing data, marketing, and launching the app. So I've done most. I've created the app. It's connected to the New York Museum of Contemporary Art. We have exposure through film and television. We're on 1,000 different television shows. But where I need help is with those final phases of the launch of the app. That's not really stuff that I want to do. I want to bring in a partner who may be a little more attuned to that type of work. It's just not really the best use of my skills. It's better if I'm focused on the creative aspect, and if I'm just given raw data, I can make good business decisions like where to get the data. I mean, it's going to be a large contract for somebody. It's got to be in the clouds. Speaking of that, let me just say this one thing. If you know an artist out there who has a collection of art up online and they have a website, it's important to understand that if an artist has a website and they have their entire body of work in there, when that person dies, that website is going to go away unless somebody agrees to pay the server and the domain bill for the rest of their life. Nobody's going to do that for you unless you're a really famous and wealthy artist. So if you have a website, I would just nix it as quickly as possible, create a credential for each one of your artworks. It will protect it. It will protect its value. And best of all, it'll allow an artist to speak to people in the future. You can speak to your great-grandchildren if it's an heirloom, needlework, a carving, a quilt. And these heirlooms and the stories behind objects of art and creative expressionism really speak to its value. Let's face it, when you pick up something old, don't you want to know, what's the story of this object? Where did this come from? So any artist or any collector or anybody that uploads anything can start to tell the story of the world's art history together in unison. I believe that art is the road to peace and prosperity for the whole world. But that's just my own personal belief.
Sounds fantastic, yeah. One question, what brought you here?
So I have, we're coming to the final stages of development of the app, and we're starting to look for partners. I have no idea how to look for a partner. I have been the chief executive of our studios in New York City the past 23 years, but I don't have any relationships in the venture capital world. I came to Silicon Valley in hopes of meeting and finding people. We came to find this conference just by chance. My mother lives an hour and a half from here. It was Mother's Day, so we decided to make a trip of it and come and meet Vlad and all the other great people at the Open Doors Silicon Valley Conference. We had a great time here. We went to University Avenue. We wore this contraption that Eric Stedding is the artist who created this contraption. He just happened to create it sort of at the same time I found this conference. And we didn't get in early enough to be able to get a pitch or even to get a chance at a pitch, so we had to do something to bring attention to us. So Eric had this beautiful, wonderful sculpture, and it's doing its job. It's inspiring individuals to ask all kinds of questions, and they come up and they ask questions, and they want to know all about him and his thing, but they got to listen to me about the app. So if you want to know more about this, it's called The Mask. Yep. Go to MyMocha, mobile app, MYMOCA, MyMocha. Put in The Mask, and you can read all about this sculpture and read all about Eric the artist, and you can see who his other collectors are, what shows he's in, and all in his bio and everything. Any other questions?
Yes, Jacques. So we know about your nice background, and maybe you have some advice for young entrepreneurs or not that young. Please tell.
I do have a lot of advice for young entrepreneurs. So when we started our business 23 years ago, it was in a very difficult field. In New York City, people have dreams of going to New York and being an artist. First of all, you have to show up for work every day. Don't ever underestimate the value of showing up every day on time. Number two, you have to be willing to fail. Mixed in with failure is success, because you have to fail to find a success. Eventually you'll get there. Don't ever underestimate the value of persistence, showing up every day, being honest, being on time, and being direct. You cannot be afraid to try new things. If you are afraid, it's okay. If you are scared, it's okay. Because fear and being afraid and being scared, they create the opportunity for courage. Because courage does not exist without fear. So if you're scared, that's the opportunity of a lifetime. And if you have a dream, and you want your dream to come true, well, first of all, of course, you have to have a dream. If you don't have a dream, get a dream. Number two, if you want your dream to come true, start working on your dream coming true. You actually working on your dream, is your dream actually coming true? So it's important to realize that your dream is coming true if you're just working on it.
Thank you, Eric and Jacques, for being with us. Thank you.